Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Rev Up Health Podcast. This week, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving next week. And we thought it would be a good idea to hop on and just talk about some of the challenges that come along with holidays and the food of the standard American diet.
Right. All the food, all the lack of exercise, all the social interactions. And so it's just a multitude of things that affects folks during the holidays, and it's tough to stay on track. And so we hope to give you a little insight about maybe some things you can do and avoid, if you will, to help keep yourself healthy and on a healthier pathway.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, holidays really can look different for every family. And some families, it might be a really easy, fun get together, and other families it might not be so much. So there may even be some added stress with the holidays and Thanksgiving. That's something to just be aware of. And I guess my invitation would be to kind of feel into that and make a decision if, how it fits in for you.
But yeah, it's really incredible until we started looking at some of those details. Did you realize that the average person on that day of Thanksgiving will eat 4,500 calories? That is twice what you have in a day, regularly non-holiday calories. I just kind of thought that was pretty incredible. But when you think about it, it's actually true with all the turkey and the dressing and the potatoes and the green beans and the bread and all the snacks, and then you throw in alcohol. It's like, oh, it puts you over the top. So no wonder we feel awful, after we have such a filling meal.
Yeah, it is quite interesting. But there are a lot of things that we can do to kind of prepare ourselves to not maybe go as crazy as we normally would.
Right. But, portion controls everything. So it's certainly one of those things we just need to be aware, kind of plan your plate. We really want to make a plan on what we're going to do, what we're going to fill this plate with. What do you want to eat? What do you know that is going to be good for you? And then what do you know that's probably not going to be good for you? Now, that's not that you can't have things that aren't good for you. Everybody loves pumpkin pie, and everybody loves the pecan pie and all the pies that go along with it. Here I'm thinking about dessert, obviously, but it's not just about the desserts. There's a lot of prep that goes into the side dishes. Try to plan what you need on that plate, and try to be a portion control. So try to know, okay, this is what I'm going to eat, and this is all I'm going to eat. So try to skip the seconds. The second portions really kind of play into a lot of problems for us. That really kind of throws us into, it's like, oh, gosh, I shouldn't have had that extra piece of pie or that extra roll. Everybody's in a regretful mode sometimes. Myself, I've done that many, many times. So you don't have to. I think it's the Japanese. I wish I could think of the term, but the Japanese are the ones that come up with a term that they eat till they're about 80% full, and then that's it. They don't eat till they're completely full.
I feel like it might be Hari Hari Boo or something like that.
Something like that. Yes, I can't remember exactly it is,
but I do know what you mean. I think the other thing in line with this is, as you're deciding, am I going to go back for a second plate? One of the tips that we found was just wait 20 minutes. So eat your plate, sit and visit with everyone, and 20 minutes. If you still feel like you want a second helping, then go ahead and get it.
Let the hormones fluctuate around. Let things kind of, the leptin and ghrelin, let that stuff just kind of settle in and do its thing and be at the right concentrations, and that just resets the brain. It's like, what, I'm pretty full. I don't think I need it. It takes a while for our brain to realize that we've eaten so much food. So we don't want to eat it too fast. And take your time, take your time eating. We're super hungry. Of course, we've skipped breakfast or whatever, and now you're eating lunch 2 in the afternoon. And so everybody gets really starving hungry. So that's certainly something you can do. Just kind of slow down.
Yes. And make sure you're getting the protein that you need. Get the, leafy green vegetables, and then put the starches and the extra stuff on last.
Right. And try to eat that towards the end too. Try to fill up on the greens and the proteins. Those greens, proteins, fibers, fats, those will satiate you. Those will keep you from overfilling yourself. And it will slow down your glucose spikes is what we really don't want to see. So, and drink a lot of water. Start out the meal with a drink a lot of water to get your stomach kind of filled up a little bit so you're not just racing into that plate. And that also will help, I think, for people.
Mm-hmm. So we've pretty much touched on the tips and tricks for nutrition.
Yeah. And watch the alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol's a real kicker. That's a calorie buster too.
And an inhibitor. Once you start drinking, then sometimes you're not thinking and consciously the things that you're doing, you're kind of just doing because, it feels good.
All right. And, be somebody, if we're bringing side dishes or you're in charge of something, bring something that maybe is going to be less calorie dense, maybe better glycemic for you, better glycemic index than what you need. Think of, do the cauliflower mash and maybe instead of the mashed potato mash. I know mash is yummy. I can't go wrong there, but maybe think of some better ways to cook the greens. Of course, try to skip some of the fatty sauces and the cheesy stuff and things of that nature.
Or I think another thing is you could, as the host or hostess, you could line up your buffet, how people are filling their plates with the things that are good at the beginning. And then, then by the time you get to the things that you probably shouldn't be having a huge helping of, you don't have enough room. And then you're waiting 20 minutes before you go back for seconds.
Yeah, it is best to hide the dessert. Maybe that would be a good thing. But anyway, I would find it. But, then we talk about, all right, now the meal's over with. What can we do to kind of help slow our glucose spikes? What can we do to kind of help, mobilize the food so that we can kind of keep from getting too uncomfortable? Well, exercise is an option. If we can just move our body, if you can just get up and do some exercise, some activity,
I would say
for fast walks.
Let's even just say not call it exercise. Let's just call it movement. Let's go for a walk, not even a fast walk, but let's just move after we eat. Just moving is good.
Yeah, 30-minute brisk walk, they say it's supposed to be around a 200 calorie buster. So that's takes a little bit out of our 4,500 calories that we eat that day. But if we're mindful of what we eat and we do the exercise, it's all good. So that'll help. But if our movement, our muscles are real important to mobilize that glucose.
Yes.
They'll take it up by eating it, but also you'll get better insulin response too with glucose and movement into the muscles.
Yeah, and that's really a great thing to do with the kids too. Get them out, wear them, expend some of that energy and take the dog for a walk between your meal and maybe dessert. And then, of course, beforehand, there's lots of places have turkey trots, little 5Ks, 10Ks, things that you can do the morning of to kind of get your day started off on a good start.
Yeah, exactly. But those things that movement's going to help improve your digestion and really kind of help mobilize that glucose so we just don't have the spikes. It'll help a lot on that. And, holiday weight, I think they say it's like 1 or 2 pounds that you gain over a holiday like Thanksgiving. And it's really difficult to get that back off again. So, that's something that you got to work to try to get those calories back in the check again.
Yeah. And it is something that I would suggest. A lot of times in the past, it's kind of felt like, oh, here we are, it's the holiday season and I'm just pretty much giving up for the year. I'm just going to indulge and do the thing. But if you can make the decision that you're still going to indulge a little, but you're not going to just totally go off the rails as far as lose your good nutrition habits, lose your good activity habits.
Right.
Keep those things as the foundation, and that is going to put you into such a better place once the holidays are over.
Right. Let's be real. I mean, this is a social event, so it's difficult to try to keep our intake, during snacking and eating all day, or socializing as we eat and their drink. So that's, these types of social events will have to be kept in check. But it's a social event too. So let's figure out activities that maybe we can do from a social standpoint to get everybody involved. And there's different families have different dynamics, of course, for all of that. But I think it's certainly a way to try to keep people in touch with each other, and find out, okay, well, how was your last Thanksgiving, how was your year, how was that birthday, so there's a lot of things you can do, and there's social activities and games that a person can play, even to kind of burn off some calories. Let's go throw the football around. There's a lot of football going on that day for Thanksgiving, or play some basketball. So that would certainly help too.
Yeah, and I really like the point you were starting to talk about as far as the socialization and kind of making a conscious effort to kind of, have some meaningful conversation and look at ask each other questions that, stories about a long time ago. I mean, this
Right.
holiday we had a lot of loss this year, and so this holiday is going to look a lot different, and there's going to be people that won't be at the table with us. And
Reflect on those good times. Those are memories that that we don't want to forget. And you keep that going and passing that down, and children, loved ones, grandkids, those types of things. It's a traditional effect on them too.
yes. So yeah, so the social piece, deciding if it's good for you. I think another piece of stress is sometimes people have a hard time with family members who have different thoughts or ideas about things, and just kind of going in knowing if there are situations like that you don't have to engage in stressful conversation. It is a holiday and it's a social time, and it's okay for you to say, you know, we're going to have to agree to disagree, and I don't want to talk about that anymore.
Right. And that can be problems too, and issues. You may be a social support network for people maybe that are having a hard time, or maybe going through depression time, or maybe they've lost loved ones and they just need somebody to talk to and get their mind off of it. So it's just a way of helping them maybe work through it and cope with it, of course. But yeah, it's Thanksgiving is always a really good time of the year, nice and fall, nice and cool. So it's I think if we just kind of be a little more mindful about, what we're eating and how we eat, and then just know that we still need to keep up our movement activities. I think that will help ensure that, we can kind of get through the holidays and be a little more healthier.
Yeah. I think gratitude, obviously, is what Thanksgiving is all about, is, you know,
Thankful.
being thankful and mindful of those things, and, even taking it a step further and letting those people who you are grateful for know that you are grateful for them, and just spread a little love in that way.
Yeah. It's stressful. It's a stressful time too for folks. And obviously that affects our cortisol levels, so which can affect our blood sugar levels, which affects our hormone levels. So
It's all
it's a trickle down
connected.
effect. And everybody knows that, the gut is a very precocious thing, and it can be disrupted with all of this change. I mean, if you're used to eating salad and chicken on a daily basis, and now you're starting to throw in the turkey with the dressings and the greasy gravy and the bread, I mean, it can really upset the bowels. I mean, our gut can really have to have a reset. But anyway, I think Thanksgiving can be a really wonderful time of the year if we just are very mindful about what we do and how we eat. And then I think with the family and friends, it's a good time to get together to socialize. And who knows, they may change their mind too. If they see you eating healthy, they maybe I need to do that too. Maybe I need to turn the leaf over. So it's certainly something that you can maybe start a trend potentially.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, and have a happy Thanksgiving.